The Winford Academy is located in an old town on Helen Hill where jousting, a sport involving combat on horseback, is incredibly popular. Mizuno Takahiro, one of the students at Winford Academy, calls jousting a miracle because it brought him to a destined meeting with someone. On the day of the tournament, entry Celia Kumani, the student council president of Winford Academy, faced off against Vice President Avery Rana. Celia launched a graceful attack that thrilled the audience. As Rana seemed to pause, Celia asked if she was conceding, but Rana requested another try. Suddenly, Celia noticed a riderless horse running across the field. The horse had escaped from its stable, leaving everyone puzzled. Meanwhile, Kisaki Miyo, walking alone, was startled as the galloping horse headed straight toward her. Terrified, she screamed as the horse chased her past a road barrier. The horse grabbed Miyo's clothing with its teeth, tearing it and causing her to fall to the ground. Miyo couldn't understand why the horse was so aggressive. Just as it was about to trample her, Takahiro appeared, calling the horse Sakura. He worked to calm the rampaging horse and eventually succeeded. Relieved, Miyo watched as Takahiro removed a small piece of wood lodged in Sakura's leg, the cause of its distress. Smiling, Miyo felt at ease as Sakura regained its composure. Takahiro commented on the horse's beautiful mane, leading Miyo to believe he was complimenting her hair, only to realize he was talking about Sakura. Slightly annoyed, Miyo noticed how Takahiro's primary concern was his horse. Takahiro then asked if Miyo was hurt, and she reassured him that she was fine. Seeing Miyo's torn clothing, Takahiro offered her his uniform jacket. Grateful, Miyo thanked him. Takahiro explained that Sakura was a good horse but overly spirited, which was why she hadn't yet been assigned a jockey. Takahiro invited Miyo to ride Sakura with him, and together they rode through streets lined with cherry blossoms. Miyo admired the scenery, catching a few petals as they drifted in the breeze. It was spring, and Takahiro reflected on how much time had passed since he came to this country. Back at the jousting match, the competition between Celia and Rina continued. Celia successfully landed her lance on Rina's helmet, knocking off its decorative feathers. Declared the winner, Celia was praised by Rina for her skill, though Celia humbly noted that Rina had improved. Celia spurred her horse and rode away as the crowd cheered, convinced she could win the next tournament. Later, Takahiro and Miyo took Sakura to the river for a drink. Miyo asked if Takahiro would return to jousting now that his injury had healed. Takahiro admitted he had quit being a knight. Curious, Miyo asked why he stayed at the academy. Was he planning to joust again or switch from the knight curriculum to the squire program? At that moment, Celia appeared, calling out to Takahiro. Miyo was surprised to see her. Celia asked if Takahiro had considered her offer, leaving Miyo puzzled about their conversation. Celia explained that she wanted Takahiro to become her squire, adding that it would be fantastic if he joined her. Takahiro hadn't decided yet, but Celia assured him she'd wait for his answer, expressing her strong hope that he'd agree. Afterwards, Celia left. Miyo felt proud of Takahiro, impressed that someone as remarkable as Celia wanted him as her squire. She was confident that together they could win the summer tournament and even achieve worldwide greatness. They could form an unbeatable team, just like Takahiro and Julianus once were. As Takahiro prepared to leave with Sakura, Miyo called out, asking him to wait for her. Takahiro and Miyo took Sakura to the stables, where they found Asmussen James tending to the horses. Miyo greeted him cheerfully, and James immediately asked why Takahiro had taken so long to return Sakura. Takahiro apologized, but before he could explain, Miyo jumped in, telling James about how Sakura had chased her and how Takahiro had come to her rescue. However, James pointed out that it was Takahiro's fault Sakura had escaped in the first place. James instructed Takahiro to put Sakura in the stall and feed her, and Takahiro followed his orders without complaint. While Takahiro busied himself feeding Sakura, Miyo mentioned that she would return his uniform jacket later at the cafe. As Miyo walked back to the school, she couldn't help but sniff the jacket she was still wearing, smiling to herself. Just then, Ryuzoji Akane noticed her and curiously asked what she was doing. Startled, Miyo laughed nervously and quickly changed the subject, asking Akane if her jousting practice was going well. Akane replied that she was giving it her all, no matter how close the tournament was. Miyo called her impressive and a favorite to win, though Akane brushed off the compliment, saying it was an exaggeration. Miyo added that many students in other programs had been talking about Akane, but admitted that the top favorite was undeniably Celia. Hearing Celia's name, Akane became momentarily lost in admiration, imagining Celia's incredible skill. Snapping out of it, Akane finally noticed Mio's outfit and asked why she was wearing a boy's uniform. Mio burst out laughing and explained everything to Akane. Later, while working her part-time job at the cafe, Mio found that Akane had shared the story with Hiraji Ayako, who laughed as she heard about Mio and Takahiro's unusual day. Both Akane and Ayako teased Mio, saying it seemed like she was just having a string of bad luck. Mio admitted that unlike Akane and others in the night curriculum, she had no idea how to handle horses. Ayako chimed in, saying that Takahiro was so focused on horses that he probably made things extra challenging for Mio. She shared a Japanese saying, "If you want to win over a knight, start with his horse." Mio nodded, recalling the proverb, but Ayako advised her that it wouldn't be easy since Takahiro was always inseparable from his horse. Ayako then suggested a different approach: start with his stomach. Mio's mind immediately went to carrots. Ayako joked that Mio needed to win Takahiro over, adding that once she did, he could be all hers. Excited by the idea, Mio decided to make a delicious carrot-inspired lunch as a way to thank him. That evening, while walking home, Takahiro saw two small children playing, pretending to joust. Their mother called them inside for dinner, and the sight stirred memories of jousting in Takahiro's mind. Takahiro eventually arrived home at Ayako's cafe, where Mio greeted him warmly. Akane also acknowledged him, and Ayako offered him dinner. Takahiro, however, wanted to put his bag away in his room first. Mio handed back his uniform jacket, thanking him for letting her borrow it. Takahiro accepted it, noticing a cherry blossom petal stuck to the fabric. He stared at it silently, lost in thought. Mio asked him what was wrong, but Takahiro said it was nothing and headed to his room. The next morning, Mio was bursting with excitement as she prepared to go to school, carrying the special lunch she made for Takahiro. Meanwhile, in Takahiro's class, their teacher explained how the role of a squire was crucial in helping knights unlock their full potential during the summer tournament. Takahiro, now part of the squire curriculum, listened intently. In the night curriculum class, the students were practicing their jousting skills with lances. Akane was in the class, diligently training alongside her peers. When the break came, Mio hurried to the stables, carrying a special lunch she had prepared for Takahiro. She was brimming with excitement, hoping he would enjoy her carrot-themed meal. When Mio arrived at the stables, she called out for Takahiro, but he was nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Takahiro was strolling through the back garden when someone called his name. He looked around and found a girl lounging on a swing suspended from a tree, enjoying a sandwich. The girl casually mentioned that her younger sister had made the sandwich for her, so she wasn't planning on sharing it with him. Takahiro asked if she was a second-year student. The girl introduced herself as Asuka Noelle Marys. Sakura, Takahiro's course, kneed repeatedly as Mio called out for him. Curious, Mio approached Sakura, who seemed to be eyeing the lunch basket she was carrying. Mio smiled and decided to offer some of the food to Sakura. To her delight, Sakura eagerly ate the meal she had prepared. Mio felt a wave of joy seeing Sakura enjoy her cooking, and decided to wait for Takahiro's return. Meanwhile, in the back garden, Noelle asked Takahiro if it was true that Celia had asked him to be her squire. She commented that she had heard he still hadn't accepted the offer. Noelle confidently added that she was planning to win the tournament that year and wanted to defeat anyone strong who crossed her path. She then boldly asked Takahiro if he would consider becoming her squire instead. At the same time, Mio noticed Takahiro's jousting helmet lying nearby while feeding Sakura. She picked it up, feeling nostalgic about Takahiro's past as a knight. Mio admired how cool Takahiro had been back then and how he still was now. She found herself deeply admiring him. Back in the garden, Noelle continued her conversation with Takahiro, revealing that she knew a lot about his past, including his time as a knight. She expressed how much it would mean to her if Takahiro joined her as her squire in the tournament, saying it would be a great help. Takahiro didn't give her a direct answer, only saying that he needed to get back to the stables. Noelle suggested they discuss the matter another time and asked him to consider her offer. Takahiro agreed to think about it and left. At the stables, Mio hugged Takahiro's helmet, taking in its scent. She couldn't resist trying it on and declared excitedly that she looked just like a knight. Her excitement was cut short when she suddenly noticed Sakura munching on the rest of the lunch she had prepared for Takahiro. Mio tried to stop Sakura, but it was too late. The horse had eaten everything. Heartbroken, Mio lamented all the time and effort she had spent making the meal. Then Sakura began to move restlessly, prompting Mio to tell her there was no more food left. Suddenly, Sakura let out a loud neigh and broke through the fence that had been holding her. Mio was terrified as Sakura bolted, falling momentarily before getting back up and chasing after Mio. Mio screamed in fear as Sakura pursued her relentlessly. She ran as fast as she could, darting out of the stable and onto the road. At that moment, Officer Bertile was explaining to Ann and Emma that a knight's most important attributes were their mind, skills, and body. The mind needed to remain calm under all circumstances, the skills had to be graceful, and the body should be strikingly attractive to capture the admiration of others. Suddenly, Emma and Ellen noticed Mio running toward them, screaming for help as she was being chased by Sakura, the horse. Alarmed, the two panicked, sensing that something was seriously wrong with the horse. Bertile, who had been closing her eyes while speaking, remained unaware of the chaos. She asked Emma and Ann why they were suddenly so flustered, reminding them that a knight must always stay composed. However, when Bertile finally opened her eyes and saw Sakura chasing Mio, she immediately screamed and started running as fast as she could. Even in her panic, Emma and Ann couldn't help but admire how elegant Bertile looked while running. Meanwhile, Takahiro returned to the stables and was shocked to find Sakura missing from her enclosure. Spotting a fallen lunch basket on the ground, he immediately recognized it as Mio's. Elsewhere, Bertile and Mio were still running for their lives. Distracted, the two ended up tripping and falling, landing on top of each other. Concerned, Mio asked if Bertile was okay. Bertile, flustered and angry, snapped at Mio to get off her. As Mio moved aside, Sakura managed to catch up and grab Bertile's skirt with her teeth, lifting her into the air. Bertile screamed, demanding Sakura put her down. Mio tried yelling at Sakura to calm down, but it didn't work. Desperate, Mio remembered how Takahiro had calmed Sakura before and decided to try the same method. She called Sakura's name, catching the horse's attention. As Sakura turned toward Mio, Bertile's skirt tore and she fell to the ground with a thud. Mio immediately approached Sakura and hugged her, soothing the distressed horse. From a distance, Takahiro spotted Mio holding Sakura and working to calm her down. To his relief, Sakura finally settled, becoming docile again. Bertile, still lying on the ground, was in disbelief over what had just happened. Mio turned to her and reassured her that Sakura was calm now. Emma and Ann quickly ran over to check on Bertile, who was furious. She accused Mio of orchestrating the entire incident, claiming it was a scheme to prevent her, as a tournament favorite, from competing. Mio was taken aback and tried to explain the situation, but Bertile wouldn't hear it. She pointed out Mio's apparent skill with horses and the knight's helmet she was holding, assuming Mio was an experienced knight. Mio insisted she wasn't a knight, but Bertile refused to believe her, vowing not to let Mio off the hook after the embarrassment she had suffered. Emma and Ann tried to help Bertile by covering her torn skirt with what fabric they could find. Meanwhile, Bertile demanded to know Mio's name. Mio introduced herself as Kazaki Mio. Hearing this, Bertile pondered whether Mio was listed in the knight curriculum. Without warning, Bertile threw a glove at Mio. Confused, Mio asked why she had done that. Bertile declared it was a formal duel challenge to defend her honor as a knight. Shocked, Mio dropped the helmet she was holding. Bertile added that since they were both knights, they should settle the matter with a joust. Mio was stunned by the proposal. Watching from afar, Takahiro couldn't believe what he was witnessing. He hadn't expected Mio to participate in a joust. Still, as he observed the unfolding events, Takahiro thought to himself that if fate truly existed, this must be part of it. Mio was startled by this sudden challenge. Takahiro approached Mio, who immediately expressed her inability to joust or duel. Just then, Sakura neighed loudly. That evening at a cafe, Mio shared her concerns about the jousting challenge, feeling utterly lost. Akane acknowledged Bertile's skill but pointed out that she often misunderstood situations and was incredibly stubborn. Ayakato asked Takahiro if the duel could simply be cancelled. Takahiro explained that he and Mio had already discussed the matter with the student council earlier that day, but Reina, speaking on their behalf, declared that the documentation submitted by Bertile was binding and could not be revoked. Mio reiterated that she couldn't joust, but Reina clarified that it was no longer a duel, but a practice match approved by the student council. Mio had no grounds to argue further. Reina also reminded Takahiro that canceling the match after the schedule was set would tarnish the honor of knights, leaving Takahiro speechless. Mio began crying in the cafe, overwhelmed by her predicament. Akane added that Mio had never studied the knight's curriculum, making the situation even more challenging. Suddenly, Mio suggested asking Celia, the student council president, for help, noting that Takahiro was acquainted with her. Takahiro argued that consulting Celia wouldn't make a difference since Rana's explanation was accurate. It would be dishonorable to tarnish Ignite's reputation. Mio, however, insisted that she couldn't duel. Takahiro then mentioned one way to avoid the duel, leaving Winford Academy entirely. Akane was shocked by this suggestion, and Mio quickly rejected the idea, stating she didn't want to leave school. If that was the case, Takahiro said Mio had no choice but to participate in the joust. Mio protested, explaining that she didn't even know how to ride a horse. Ayako, upset, demanded Takahiro take responsibility, blaming him for not being around when Mio delivered his lunch earlier. Akane agreed. Ayako then proposed that Takahiro become Mio's squire. Takahiro admitted he had already considered this, but only for the duel itself. He then asked Mio to start training with him the next day, and Mio, determined, decided to give it her all. The following day, Takahiro and Mio began training together. Mio was shocked by the size and weight of the jousting lance. It was the first time she had ever held one. Takahiro instructed her to grip the lance. Mio hesitated, asking if such a rigid lance could sometimes break. Takahiro explained that it depended on the wielder. Mio struggled to lift the lance with all her strength. Takahiro told her to get accustomed to holding it. Mio complained about its weight, but Takahiro reassured her, explaining that using a lance wasn't about brute strength but balance. He instructed her to grip the shaft firmly, lean her arm and body slightly, and keep one hand steady on her hip. Takahiro also advised her to position the lance securely, aim its tip forward, and ensure the tip didn't touch the ground. Mio tried to lift the jousting lance, but due to her lack of balance, her body was pulled along with the movement of the lance. She ended up running downhill, unable to stop, weaving through a crowd of students heading to school. Ayako saw Mio struggling and shouted for everyone to get out of the way. Mio kept yelling that she couldn't control her steps or the lance. In the chaos, the lance accidentally flipped up the skirts of several students. Shinoname, the school announcer, quickly broadcast the event, reporting that a girl with a lance was running through the crowd of students on their way to school. She also announced that the lance had flown in her direction and tore her skirt. Embarrassed, Shinoname covered her lower body with her hands. Mio, still panicking, shouted that she couldn't hold on any longer, but thankfully, Akane managed to catch the lance in time. Takahiro, who witnessed the entire incident, approached them. Later, Reina summoned Takahiro and Mio to the student council room. She scolded them for causing such a commotion. Mio apologized and Takahiro took the blame, explaining that it was Mio's first time and that he had pushed her too hard. Reina raised an eyebrow and questioned what he meant by first time and pushing her. She asked Mio if what Takahiro said was true. Her vague explanation made Reina doubt they were actually practicing jousting. Reina slapped Takahiro across the face and sent them away. As Takahiro and Mio walked through the school hallway, Mio apologized to him, but he told her not to worry about it. James greeted them and teased Mio for making the morning so entertaining. He also expressed surprise that Takahiro had agreed to be her squire. Takahiro clarified that it was only a temporary arrangement. James then asked if Takahiro had heard about the new transfer student, rumored to be an exceptionally talented girl with the potential to defeat all the top competitors and win the next tournament. James wondered if Takahiro was interested in meeting her. Later, while relaxing on the grass, Takahiro thought about the transfer student rumored to dominate the jousting scene. Suddenly, a small kitten approached him. Assuming it was lost, Takahiro tried to help, but the kitten darted away. Concerned about the dangers of the horses nearby, Takahiro followed. The kitten climbed a tree and leaped into the air. Takahiro reached out to catch it but accidentally grabbed something else instead, a girl's chest. Embarrassed, Takahiro quickly apologized. The girl introduced herself as Lisa. Just then, Lisa's friend Fiona called out to her and approached with her lunch, spicy tacos. Fiona was shocked to see Takahiro's hands still on Lisa's chest and accused them of doing something inappropriate. Fiona dragged Lisa away, muttering about how indecent people could be. She also warned Takahiro not to try anything weird with Lisa. Lisa assured Fiona that nothing happened, then handed the kitten to Fiona, who screamed in fear and begged Lisa to take it away. Lisa, amused, called the kitten adorable. Takahiro sighed, feeling like luck was not on his side that day. During the school break, Takahiro walked outside and ran into Mio, who excitedly showed him her progress with the jousting lance. She explained that after running with it earlier, she had discovered a trick to holding it properly. She waved the lance around, commenting on how strange it was that Takahiro had told her to use only a little strength when handling it. However, Mio suddenly lost her balance and fell, crying out in pain. Seeing her reddened hands, Takahiro smiled, proud of her determination and effort. That day, Takahiro was bathing Sakura, his course. He even asked Sakura if Mio would be okay, to which Sakura neighed in response. Takahiro assumed Mio had potential since she had already learned to handle the lance in just one day. Celia then approached him, gently stroking Sakura and praising her as a great horse. Celia mentioned that Riina had told her about the commotion Takahiro caused earlier that morning. Just as Takahiro began explaining, Celia interrupted, asking if he had considered becoming her squire or if he was too busy thinking about Mio's duel. She also brought up that she had heard about a dish called okonomiyaki from Takahiro's hometown, noting that Takahiro himself was known for making it, though it took a bit of time. She said she could sense his youthful passion in it. Celia acknowledged that Takahiro had chosen to be Mio's squire and said she looked forward to seeing how it would unfold. She added that she would wait for his answer after Mio's duel and also look forward to tasting his okonomiyaki. Takahiro apologized to Celia, but suddenly he noticed that the hose he was holding had stopped running. It turned out Sakura was stepping on the hose, blocking the water flow. When Sakura moved her hoof, the water pressure built up, and it sprayed all over Celia by accident. Takahiro immediately apologized, but Celia assured him she was fine. He handed her a towel, but as he glanced at her, he was startled to see that her soaking wet clothes clung to her body, highlighting her figure. Embarrassed, he quickly turned away and offered her the towel again. Just then, Riina called out to Celia, asking her to return quickly. However, when Riina saw Celia drenched and Takahiro standing there, she jumped to conclusions. Riina accused Takahiro of being indecent and slapped him hard across the face. Meanwhile, Mio was practicing jousting in the grassy fields. She aimed her lance at the center of a ring hanging from a tree branch. When she successfully struck the target, she was ecstatic and proudly showed her achievement to Takahiro. Afterward, Takahiro started teaching Mio the basic rules of jousting. He asked Mio if she knew what jousting was. Mio confidently replied that it was a sport where you ride a horse and use a lance to attack your opponent. Takahiro confirmed her answer and elaborated that attacking different parts of the body would yield different scores. For example, hitting the arm was worth 1 point, hitting the stomach earned 2 points, and targeting the head was dangerous and considered against the rules. Mio nodded in understanding, but then asked, with an innocent curiosity, what would happen if someone hit the chest. She asked this while touching her own chest, which left Takahiro flustered. He quickly clarified that hitting the chest was the same as hitting the stomach, worth 2 points. Mio then noted that earning 3 points would end the first round and that there were 3 rounds in a match. Takahiro explained all this while gently patting Mio's head, and Mio realized how fun jousting could be. Suddenly, a girl on horseback galloped toward Takahiro and Mio. She pointed her lance straight at them, causing Takahiro to quickly shield Mio with his arms. The lance stopped just inches from Mio's face. The girl commended Mio for her bravery, remarking on how Mio hadn't flinched or moved her head even slightly. As she removed her helmet, it was revealed that the rider was Noelle. Mio mentioned that she had seen a carrot at the tip of the lance, so she wasn't worried even if it came close to hitting her. Noelle assured her that she would never aim a real lance at a beginner. However, Takahiro pointed out that it would still be dangerous if the lance accidentally hit her. Noelle confidently replied that she wouldn't make such a mistake. Moreover, she had demonstrated her skills and she thought it would be better if Takahiro spent his time becoming her squire. Just as Takahiro was about to explain his reason, Noelle interrupted, saying she already knew that he wouldn't consider it until Mio's duel was over. That was why Noelle decided she would help Mio train. Noelle began helping Mio with leg stretches. Mio winced in pain and asked Noelle to go easier on her. Noelle urged Mio to hang in there, saying that she'd get used to it soon. She explained that Mio needed to loosen up her leg muscles as warming up would prevent injuries during the duel. Noelle kept pushing, pulling, and stretching Mio's muscles, leaving Mio grimacing in pain. After the stretches, Noelle introduced a strength exercise. Mio had to carry Noelle on her back while walking. Noelle kept urging Mio to move faster, but Mio insisted that she couldn't go any further. Takahiro asked Mio if she was okay, but Noelle dismissed his concern, saying he shouldn't pamper her. There wasn't much time left before the duel, and Mio needed Spartan training. Noelle also reminded Mio to maintain her balance. Exhausted, Mio lost her strength, fell backward onto Takahiro, and all 3 of them tumbled downhill. They ended up lying sprawled on the ground, and Takahiro asked if Noelle and Mio were okay. Later, Mio was washing up in the bathroom when Noelle suddenly peeked in, startling her. Noelle commented on how beautiful Mio's body was, fair, smooth, and free from scars or blemishes. Mio was slightly embarrassed, realized for the first time how nice her own body looked. Noelle went on to say that she never would have guessed someone with such a gorgeous figure would be jousting. She even joked that she'd allow Mio to keep Takahiro a little longer. As Miyo noticed scars on Noelle's back, Noelle shared her determination to win the upcoming summer tournament. Meanwhile, Takahiro was cleaning the stables when James appeared, handing him a gift for Miyo. That night, as Miyo lay in bed, she kept thinking about Noelle's dedication to training her. Unable to sleep, she picked up a book about jousting and started reading it. She even tried practicing some of the techniques from the book. The next morning, Takahiro handed Miyo the gift from James. It was a jousting uniform. Takahiro helped her put it on, and Miyo asked him to be gentle since it was her first time wearing armor. Miyo felt that Takahiro was being a bit rough as he helped her put on the armor, but the fit was extremely tight. Takahiro eventually called James over to assist. The sight of the three of them together might have looked suspiciously suggestive to an outsider, but in reality, they were simply trying to get Miyo suited up in her armor. Finally, they succeeded. James complimented the feather decorations on the armor, saying they suited Miyo and made her look like a true knight. Miyo, confused, mentioned that she didn't have feathers, not realizing it was a metaphor for the ornamentation on the armor. James encouraged her to take good care of the old armor and suggested she polish it to bring out its shine. He wished Miyo success in her upcoming duel. James then showed Miyo Sakura, now fully equipped with protective gear. Miyo was in awe at how impressive Sakura looked. James remarked that although Sakura could be a bit mischievous, she was a good horse, and it seemed like she had taken a liking to Miyo. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Miyo hugged Sakura tightly, promising that they would do their best together. She thanked James for everything. Next, Takahiro handed Miyo a helmet, saying she couldn't joust without it. Miyo was surprised and touched that Takahiro would give her his own helmet. She thanked him and tried it on immediately, asking for his opinion on how she looked. Takahiro smiled and told her she looked amazing. With everything ready, Takahiro declared that they were going to train hard that day. Miyo, still trying to catch her breath from all the preparation, pleaded for him to go easy on her. However, Takahiro firmly stated that he wouldn't hold back, not even for his parents, siblings, or, after a slight pause, even his girlfriend. Hearing the word girlfriend, Miyo blushed deeply but quickly shook it off, resolving to give the training her all.